in a time of climate crisis and ecological emergency, and the HS2 project is not something that is compatible with that situation. A lot of people don't know what's really going on with HS2.
It's 2 miles wide in places. It's unbelievable. People haven't got a clue the scale of it. When the camp started, we had local people stopping in the cars. What's going on?
The Wildlife Trust has just produced a report saying almost 700 habitats will be impacted by HS2.
It's going through nature reserves and SSSI sites. It's threatening biodiversity.
They were cutting down all the trees up on the other side of the road. Everything up there has almost been cleared. That was just the start.
22% of London's drinking water comes from here, and they're drilling into the aquifer through the chalk table, and that naturally filters all of the water throughout a prolonged period of time. But up the road there is a old Victorian dump, and all sorts of nasties are there, and they've rerouted underground streams, so it's going to skip all the filtration systems and go straight into 22% of London's drinking water.
Affinity Water have been to Parliament over this because they and HS2 know that they're in fact quite likely to damage this aquifer. And their way out of it was to basically promise Affinity Water an unlimited amount of money. That's how they think they've sold it.
There is no private money being invested in this whatsoever. It is all public money.
Estimates keep on going up. It started off at like 40 odd billion, and it went to 80, now it's over 112 billion. And the government even said that if they gave that figure first, they would never have gone ahead with it anyway, because there's better places to be spending the public money.
HS2 is a project that only ever got off the ground because it was lobbied for by people who had a vested commercial interest in building it and potentially making money out of the land grabs around the stations. And that's why none of the arguments that have been used to justify it fit.
When they took our main camp field last Tuesday, and then this Tuesday they came in and did this one, they came in and apparently showed a sealed pack of paperwork, which they refused to open, and a dodgy map with no key.
They had hold of my welly boots up against, so I couldn't move anywhere. So I slipped my welly boots off and climbed higher up the tree, and they were unable to get me. But with the lack of sleep, the lack of food and water, they wouldn't allow any up to me. It all kind of took its toll, and I got hypothermia. I'm still not 100% mended, but I am better than what I was, and so happy to be back up in this tree.
There's a whole section from sort of here and up to the gate where I think you all came in. That is not in the compulsory purchase order, so they've let us stay here, but if we leave, we're not allowed to return.
Very muddy.
Very muddy, yeah.
Through the road protests, we cost them so much money by setting up tree houses and little tree village type things. It really increased the cost massively. And there are parallels here with the HS2 protests where people are creating aerial defences.
Use the slings, throw it higher, climb up a bit, put another sling on, clip in, take off the other one. Like always in that motion. You always want to be clipped onto something else before you unclip.
What was originally happening this weekend was HS2 were closing the Harville Road and were due to fell a significant number of trees, and they were closing the Chiltern line. And so we mobilised people. I mean, this has turned into a national action. We've had people from all over. So we had the force of numbers to be able to very peacefully reclaim the footpath.
So how long will you be there for? Do you know?
I don't know, no.
You don't know?
HS2, knowing that we'd mobilised and got that number of people, cancelled the road closure and the felling. So for us, that was an immediate win. The high-speed rail networks are designed to connect the airports and enable airport expansion and encourage more air travel.
It goes to Birmingham Airport and Manchester Airport and near East Midlands Airport, and they, along with Leeds Bradford, are all lobbying for it because they see it as essential for expanding the international aviation.
We need to put that money into the public transport network for all the rest of the trains and buses. Other countries starting to bring in free public transport.
You look at the Chiltern line there, it's not even electrified. You can add more capacity, decarbonise, speed up journeys, and for very little environmental damage for a fraction of the cost of HS2.
It feels like here in the UK, when we see Australia burning and when we see the Amazon burning, that this is our opportunity here to stand for the trees that we need to save on behalf of the UK and on behalf of the global population. So for me, HS2 is not compatible with that.
It's the biggest destruction of trees since World War I. We're not just talking about the trees, we're talking about the biodiversity, the owls, the badgers, the birds.
Since being here, I've come across dormice, birds of prey, owls, woodpeckers, all amazing sorts of critters.
There are people from all over the country that don't want this project to go ahead, and that really want to preserve our natural environment, and that really does give me hope.
There is a chance. I think we are very, very close, very close.
The answer's just staring you in the face, Boris Johnson. Right, you've got sustainable transport options that actually deliver what you want, or you've got HS2 that delivers a legacy project of George Osborne that's going to, feed the back pockets of his crony mates. It's up to you.